Looking back, there are plenty of free agent signings that are paying off. A lot of role players have been producing better than expected and probably should have gotten paid more. Last season, Derrick Rose and JaMychal Green were easily one of the best bargains in the NBA. Didn't make a ton, but producing sometimes even as the third or fourth option. How's it going, guys? My name's Wilson. Let's take a look at 10 of the best bargains from 2019 NBA free agency. The Portland Trail Blazers signing Rodney Hood to 2 years $11.7 million with a 2020-21 player option. Locking him this year for the mid-level exception was a must. Playing very solid basketball, starting all 18 games thus far, averaging over 12 points on 53% shooting, the best percentages of his career by nearly 10 percentage points. After receiving a heavy amount of criticism 2 years ago playing with LeBron, the 27-year-old's catch and fire shots have been money. If he keeps up his production, the 6'8" small forward will be a lock to decline his player option next season. After missing the production of Farouq Aminu and Mo Harkless, the Blazers couldn't ask for a better timing for Hood to play fantastic basketball. JaMychal Green of the Los Angeles Clippers, who signed for 2 years $9.7 million with a player option the next season. The 6'8" power forward brings very good minutes off the bench as a knockdown shooter and another versatile defender. A bonus for the team to have in the Western Conference, putting up nearly 8.7 rebounds in only 23 minutes of action. His contract is so valuable that his player option could price him out of town next season, but he does have a big opportunity to contend for a championship this season. One of the good pieces off the bench, opponents will command double teams on Kawhi, PG, and Lou Will. Green is a huge asset, depended on in knocking down threes and hitting the outside jumper, a perfect front court partner for Montrezl Harrell. While spacing the floor, at times with Kawhi doing low management, Green is capable of playing 30 minutes a game if necessary. Richaun Holmes of the Sacramento Kings, who signed for 2 years $9.8 million. Now in his 5th season in the NBA, the 6'10" big man has been more than solid for the team, filling in for the injured Marvin Bagley, putting up over 11 and 8 on 65% shooting in 27.5 minutes of action. A good role player who finishes around the rim with ease. Almost 80% of his made buckets comes off assists, so the team doesn't have to run any play for him on offense. As an energy guy who crashes the boards, the team's playing good basketball after an 0-5 start. While the Kings overpaid for guys in Corey Joseph, Dwayne Dedmon, and Trevor Ariza, those three are heavily underperforming, making 8 figures on the season. Holmes has been way more valuable than all 3 of them combined at the moment. Very tough and resilient, putting up near double-double numbers have become the norm for the 26-year-old. Glenn Robinson III, who signed with Golden State for only 2 years less than $4 million with a player option. Although his team's not winning much, he absolutely proves he belongs in the league. After getting limited playing time each of his first 4 seasons through 20 games, the 25-year-old's averaging 11.5 points, nearly 5 rebounds on 32 minutes of playing time, making a name for himself, scoring double figures in more than half his games on the season. The franchise made a low-risk, high-reward gamble and looking for a guy who can fill in and replace the vets they lost last season. If the 6'6" forward continues to produce, he can certainly earn a multi-year contract next season and test the market instead of settling for just $2 million next season. Jake Layman of the Minnesota Timberwolves, who received the 3-year $11.3 million contract with the Blazers as part of a sign-and trade that sent him to Minnesota. Currently out with a toe injury, the 6'8" forward is putting up 10.5 points in 26 minutes off the bench, greatly benefiting the team with his outside shooting. Has also shown the confidence in attacking the basket and finishing, establishing himself as a critical member of the team. The former University of Maryland basketball standout is starting to get more comfortable. After barely playing his first 2 seasons, nobody expected him to be the 5th leading scorer for the Wolves behind Cat, Wiggins, Teague, and Covington. A guy making just over $3 million on the season, his production was what Gorgie Deng was supposed to bring. Instead, Deng barely plays and spends most of his time on the bench, getting paid $16 million this season and $17 the next. If Layman continues to ball out, he deserves at least half that money. Rondae Hollis-Jefferson, 1 year $2.5 million with the defending champion Raptors, averaging nearly 10 points, over 6 rebounds in his first 11 games. The 6'6" small forward comes off the bench despite suffering a groin injury early on the season. He's provided a huge spark as a strong energy guy, very aggressive, oftentimes guards the best perimeter players on the other team despite lacking a jump shot and being a liability in late game situation. He makes up for it with his hustle plays and will continue to be a do-it-all type player off the bench. On the bright side, he does doesn't turn 25 years old till January 2020. Derrick Rose of the Detroit Pistons, who's still underpaid, 2 years $15 million. After showing glimpses playing like an all-star at times, we know he's no longer his former self, but how he rejuvenated his career and resurrected himself is truly inspiring. After accepting a role coming off the bench, he's still worthy enough to be a starter, averaging over 16 a game, 5.5 assists on 50% shooting in just 23 minutes. High numbers for a low salary player by NBA standards. He's doing way more for his team than starting Bulls point guard Thomas Satoransky, who the franchise paid him $30 million for 3 years. Instead of taking a chance on Rose, his season is being forgotten, playing for a terrible Pistons team with no hope of success this season. His hometown Bulls could have used him. At least he would have brought more excitement to the city of Chicago. Also now an improved playmaker, the Bulls simply don't have a reliable point guard this season, but that's too bad for them. Avery Bradley of the LA Lakers, currently dealing with a right leg injury. The 6'3" guard's been a very solid addition, starting 10 games, nearly averaging 10 a game on 49% shooting. Although he's not the same player he used to be, getting a 2-year worth $9.8 million is a good addition as a complimentary player after the Lakers didn't get Kawhi Leonard. Bradley, whose value was falling down, was waived by Memphis this past summer. After suiting up for 14 games, he did average 16 a game and still proves he has plenty of game left. Started for the Clippers as well last season and also the Pistons before leaving the Celtics. Out for another week, the Lakers are clearly a better team when Bradley plays. His teammate Dwight Howard deserves a mention as well, even though I dislike his attitude and lack of work ethic over the years, viewed as the laughingstock, cut by Memphis on a non-guaranteed contract for a vet minimum for $2.5 million non-guaranteed. He's shown a lot of positivity, playing 20 minutes off the bench, averaging 7 and 7 on 75% shooting. Dwight seems to be okay playing a little bit and giving more production than harm for the team. Then McLeod of the Houston Rockets, who signed for 2 years $4.1 million non-guaranteed, averaging over 8 points so far. He's playing very good minutes with the injuries to Eric Gordon and Gerald Green, starting a bunch of games, possibly redeeming himself and saving his career this season. And two other guys on this list who were not signed in free agency, but I have to mention Duncan Robinson of the Miami Heat, who was on a 2-way contract in June of 2018. After suiting up for 15 games last season, the team decided to convert the 2-way into a regular contract worth 2 years $3 million. Now the 6'7" forward is averaging over 10 points a game on 42% shooting from 3, very lethal from the outside, playing 25 minutes and starting most of his games this season. The 25-year-old had one of the most unique and unlikely paths to the NBA, who started his college career at a Division III school before transferring to the University of Michigan. His relentless work ethic and thousands of hours he's put in the gym got him to his dream. Robinson also had one of the most unique games against the Cavs, scoring 29 points, going 9 of 15 from 3 without taking a single 2-pointer, joining Robert Horry as the only players to do so. Robinson's current teammate Kendrick Nunn, Miami signed him to a 3-year worth $3.1 million deal towards the end of the 2019 regular season, making only $1.4 million this season, taking the NBA by surprise. The 24-year-old is one of the lead candidates for Rookie of the Year, averaging over 16 points his first 19 games as the starting 2 guard. It's too bad Golden State decided to cut him. Now his guaranteed salary increased from $300,000 to $450,000. The 1.4 will be officially fully guaranteed on January 7. Easily the best bargain in the league by far, and one of the biggest G League success stories, taking advantage of his opportunity. Many were skeptical about the Heat this season, but now they currently have the second best record in the entire Eastern Conference, playing excellent team ball. The most unlikely, unpredictable breakout star is a luxury to have for Miami. After being stuck in multiple bad contracts, nobody thought it would be possible for a player making under $2 million on the season to somehow end up being the second best player on their team. Absolutely incredible stuff we're seeing from the agile 6'2" guard. Not to mention, he's making over $1 million less than Udonis Haslem, who many of you forgot he's still in the NBA. Pat Riley was an absolute genius locking those two guys up before this past summer. Honorable mentions includes Emmanuel Mudiay, who signed for 1 year $1.7, and Jeff Green 1 year $2.5 million, both coming off the bench for the Jazz. Green is at the tail end of his career. Mudiay is proving he deserves a bigger contract. The Milwaukee Bucks, Wesley Matthews signed for 2 years $5.25 million, and Kyle Korver 1 year $2.5 million. Great pieces for Giannis. James Ennis of the Sixers, who signed for 2 years $4.1 million. very solid for a guy averaging 7.5 points off the bench and provides good veteran leadership. Isaiah Thomas of the Washington Wizards as well, whose contract is only 1 year, $2.3 million, starting at the point for the Wizards, putting up a dozen points a game, a low risk, high reward guy looking to earn a better contract after all the injuries. And of course, 1 month into the season, Carmelo Anthony's also one of the best bargains in the NBA right now, who signed for a year with $2.1 million non-guaranteed with the Blazers, playing sensational basketball for his age, making the most of his opportunity so far. How about that for the Western Conference Player of the Week? Thank you so much for watching this video. I love all of you. See you next time.